Joining me on the phone is Frank Caliendo, a master impressionist and a very, very funny guy. Good morning, Frank. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I wondered who might answer the phone.
Yeah, kind of the gingerbread man from Shrek or something.
Yeah, that's good. The first thing I got to ask you is that, first of all, I was surprised to find out you were born in Chicago and grew up in Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Yep.
See, our station is in Platteville, Wisconsin. We're actually a Dubuque, Iowa station, but the studio is in Platteville, so kind of your old home stomping grounds.
Yeah, I had friends that went to UW Platteville, so.
Oh, you did?
We've been out there a couple times, absolutely.
Well, anytime you're out here again, by all means, stop in and say hello. We'd love to have you on the air. What made you go into impressions, Frank? What was the deciding factor?
I just kind of did that at the beginning. I mean, it wasn't really a plan. It was just one of the things that made people laugh. So I remember, I would watch Saturday Night Live and Living Color, those kinds of things, and do lots of the characters that they were doing. Damon Wayans characters, if you remember that Anton the Bummy would do
Sure.
that. Excuse me, can I ask you a couple questions? That kind of stuff. Or Fire Marshal Bill, let me say something. Those kinds of things. Or over at Saturday Night Live, my name is Matt Foley, and I'm a motivational speaker. Watching those kinds of things just would always get me pumped up, and watching old school Belushi Saturday Night Live. So I really like that stuff.
I assume, but I don't know this, that in school you were kind of cut up?
I was very quiet till about 6th grade, and then something clicked, and I started switching to the dark side, I guess. Yeah, then I started doing impressions of lots of friends, and it just went from there.
I'm guessing that some teachers, maybe, and some of those kind of...
Yeah, Mr. Christensen, he was a history teacher who'd always... I knew nothing about geography, so he would bring me up to the map and just watch me flail. Our resident map expert, Mr. Caliendo, would come up, he's like, where is the United States? And I big point, he's like, that's blue, that's water, Frank. All right, okay, let's move on. In the words of Charles Barkley, that Frank was just terrible trying to figure things out.
I could let you go on all day. I just love listening to your impressions. And the response you got, I'm guessing that kind of sealed it for you, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it worked out pretty well. Then I went into college, and I went to school for broadcast journalism at UW Milwaukee. And then what I really wanted to do was be a sports center anchor. I was tied into sports because I grew up in sports, and so that was what I knew. It's funny because when I first started out doing some of the sports impressions, one of them they were Madden and Pat Summerall, and the Pat Summerall was the one everybody said was really good. That to the 20, to the 25, there's a flag on the play, and they're like, your Madden's okay, but that Pat Summerall is really good. And I'm thinking to myself, boom, these guys don't know what they're talking about.
I'd have to agree with. We talked before we went on air about how much Letterman enjoyed having you on his show, and of course, the minute you got there, he'd start coaxing you to go towards Madden, and loved. That's one of the funniest impressions you do. They're all great, but John Madden is hilarious.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing, is I still do it a lot in the live shows because people come to see it. The worst place to do a John Madden impression I found is at TSA. And this is true. Jay Leno here. True story. I was going through TSA, and one of the guys was there like, oh, hey, man, I love your Madden. Can you do a little Madden? I was like, boom, which is the wrong thing to say going through TSA. Once again, just terrible. So, yeah, I might bring out the Madden for ESPN has asked me to dust it off and bring it out when Brett Favre goes into the Hall of Fame this year. So that might be something I bring out a Madden for. But I used to explain all the jokes as John Madden in my act, too. I'd be like, see, the reason that's funny is because of this and that, and then boom, there you get it. Now I narrate them as Morgan Freeman, so if somebody doesn't get a joke, I'm like, that's when the audience realized that Frank Caliendo had no idea what he was talking about.
How do you do that switch so easy? That's got to be a practiced art.
Once I have it to muscle memory, I can go from one to the next. I could be doing George W. Bush down to Donald Trump, do a little John Madden, John Gruden. I'll tell you what, man, that's tremendous. And then just fly to Morgan from Little Jeff Goldblum, new movie coming out very good. So I kind of see the person, like I'm almost looking at a picture of them, and I just go for it.
I understand you do over 120 voices totally. Is that about right?
I have no idea. Anytime I start counting people nobody remembers anymore, like Walter Brennan or something like that. It's the rich little repertoire.
As I said, that process of that switch just seems to be something that you would have to really sit down and work on. And you're saying it just comes. You just open your mouth.
Yeah, once you have it, like if an impression is newer or a voice is newer, I might have trouble getting to it. But once I just know, I can just switch, and as soon as I see it in my head, I can just go to it. I don't know. I always figured anybody could do it. I never realized it was that weird.
Well, trust me, most all of us believe we can do it until we actually hear our impressions and realize we're just saying the words in our own voice, and that's about as much as we can get out of it. How often do you decide to add new voices to the act?
Whatever. I mean, I've been working on more of like doing characters, non-impression characters, than doing more. The thing is, the audiences are so segmented nowadays that it's hard to find impressions that everybody knows and then do any considerable amount of material around them. So I'm working on trying to find things that everybody can relate to. The other thing is, like, what's difficult about an impression is once a person is no longer present anymore or they die, people consider it old. In your real life, you know, if your uncle dies, you can still talk about your uncle and nobody knows he's passed away, you know. So and the other thing that's more difficult now is, like, people we thought were, like, super great role model celebrities turn out to be people that are going to jail and weren't that good, like the Bill Cosby types, which used to be an easy one to just throw in there and even, goof around with. Now it's like, now you throw that out there and people are like, oh, my goodness. Because I don't even do that. I mean, my show's clean. It's basically for everybody. I don't go out there trying to be super edgy and offend anybody. It's just, forget about your troubles. I'm the Cheers bar of comedy. Just forget about your troubles.
That's fantastic. A great description. I know you've got to go. You've got to move on to other interviews, but thank you so much for spending some time with me. Don't miss your chance to see this guy. He is fantastic. Frank, thanks so much for spending some time with us. As Donald Trump, is there anything you want to say before you leave?
Well, it's going to be a tremendous show. It'll be the #1 show, not just in the United States, but in the history of Western civilization. It'll probably be bigger than that, in the history of the multiverse. It'll be that good.
Frank, thank you so much. You're fantastic.